Personally, I'm not holding my breath. I've seen this movie before, and I know how it ends, folks. David Menzies for Rebel News here in Markham, Ontario. Well, folks, I'm standing outside the headquarters for the Responsive Group, Inc. That's a private facility that operates the Anson Place long-term care facility in Hagersville, Ontario. It also operates 5 other long-term care facilities. And I'll get back to Anson Place and the Responsive Group a little later on. But in the meantime, certainly retirement homes were very much in the news this week in Canada. That's because a Canadian military report released earlier this week makes note of absolutely disgusting and deplorable conditions at 5 long-term care homes in the province of Ontario. We're talking cockroach infestations, neglect of residents, subpar infection control practices, and even incidences of residents being force-fed or outright physically abused. It's horrific, but is it truly surprising? In fact, I'm kind of experiencing deja vu all over again. Pick a decade, any decade, and you will come across a report or an inquiry or an investigative news series highlighting the horrors of certain long-term care facilities. The government officials react with shock and outrage, and they promise to do better. And then after the 24-hour news cycle subsides, this snafu is quickly forgotten. Indeed, this is not necessarily a Wuhan virus story. This has been the situation abnormal for far too long. All the Wuhan pandemic did really was accelerate an already ghastly situation thanks to the death toll in long-term care homes. In fact, a staggering 82% of the deaths in Ontario due to the Wuhan virus have occurred at retirement homes. And in its report, the abuses uncovered by Canadian Armed Forces personnel are as vast as they are disturbing. One home used narcotics to sedate residents who were deemed to be agitated and difficult, while others were simply confined to quarters as if they were in a prison as opposed to a retirement home. And check this out, a Globe and Mail investigation revealed that the Ministry of Labour, which is responsible for long-term care homes, routinely inspected seniors' homes by making a phone call rather than going in person during the current pandemic. I mean, can you believe that? If you were to drive for Uber, for example, you must by law get your vehicle inspected every year, and you must show proof of that inspection, or you're simply not going to be allowed to operate as a modified taxi service. But when it comes to the facilities where our beloved elders live, we'll just make a quick phone call. Hello there, Ministry of Labour calling. Do you have any cockroaches running around the kitchen? What about the seniors? Have you forcibly sedated them and locked them in their rooms? You haven't? Oh, okay, boss. Sounds good to me. Approved. Goodbye. But you know, folks, as much as there is incompetence by the regulators and downright malfeasance by members of government of all political stripes, many of these facilities just don't seem to give a rodent's rectum. One thing I learned when I covered this situation at a few retirement homes this past couple of months was the outrageous lack of transparency. Do you remember my visit to Pinecrest Retirement Home in Bobcaygeon, where 29 residents and 1 visitor had died of the Wuhan virus? Check out my super brief interview with Pinecrest's administrator, Mary Carr.
Ms. Carter, even if you can't come on camera, one of the angles I'm pursuing, because there's been so much, chatter out there about how the outbreak happened, and what I keep hearing is that staff and visitors to the hospital that had been outside of Canada, that hadn't self-quarantined for the full 14 days, that might be part of the issue in terms of the spread of COVID-19 at the nursing home. Have you heard this, or do you have anything to say about that speculation?
I've heard it. I have no comment. Thank you for your questions.
Hello, Ms. Carr?
Okay, so I decided to drive all the way to Bobcaygeon to personally reach out. That didn't go so well either. Hi there, I'm Dave.
I'm not going to go on camera, so if you can turn that off.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to find out what the.
Mary Carr's been sending updates to the media, so if you can please speak with her.
I did phone Miss Carr, ma'am, earlier today, and she hung up. But when I was just asking what the timeline was, what other precautions have been taken.
Yeah, unfortunately, our media response is going through Mary Carr.
Indeed, can you believe that, folks? Here is a home that is linked to 30 deaths, or almost 1% of the entire Bob Cajun population. And they called the cops on me for asking questions, for practicing journalism. Don't you find that a little weird? And then there was my visit to Anson Place in Hagersville, Ontario, where at least 27 residents have died due to the Wuhan virus. What brought me there was a good Samaritan by the name of James Bradbury. You see, Mr. Bradbury offered to donate, as in for free, personal protective equipment that was, according to staff there, desperately needed. But Bradbury's offer was refused, and allegedly one of the reasons was due to the fact that his PPE was not made in China. Yeah, that's right. The epicenter of the disease and the country that is notorious for manufacturing and shipping tons and tons of substandard PPE to countries the world over. Here, check out Mr. Bradbury's comments. When you went to various institutions to give your products, what was the reaction?
Well, the main thing was that a lot of the nursing homes in particular, that they didn't want the medical equipment. Like, no matter what it was, whether it was face shields, gowns, the common thing was that it wasn't professionally made, or if it wasn't from China, they didn't want it.
I thought there was an incredible shortage, and I guess there's the old saying, beggars can't be choosers, but when they say not professionally made, I'm looking at the visor you've constructed there. Plastic is plastic. It fits on a head. We've seen lots of publicity about these fabric masks being better than no masks at all. So why would that be such a factor? And you also said because it was not made in China, that was a negative?
Yeah, so I thought it was really strange because, I'm hearing on the news all the time that, we need medical equipment, we need shields, we need, all this stuff. And, other homes are asking for it. There's certain homes are saying, no, we don't want that. And I'm hearing from the nurses that, no, we really need them. We don't have anything. And so I started pressing more into it, and I found that certain homes with certain unions, with this one union, SEIU, they have a policy that doesn't allow them to accept donated materials, donated any kind of PPE or anything that's not made from China.
Yeah, so solidarity forever, eh? Indeed, bottom line, based on my dealings with Pinecrest and Anson Place, is it truly any wonder that the Canadian Armed Forces uncovered so many nursing home practices that were at best negligent and at worst downright malicious? The question is, now that these disgusting practices have been highlighted for the upteenth time, is the government going to actually do anything about it other than huff and puff in front of the cameras and, promise they'll do something tangible about it someday in the future, maybe, perhaps? Personally, I'm not holding my breath. I've seen this movie before, and I know how it ends, folks. And by the way, it seems that all the people here at the responsive group, well, they're at home, hunkered down, and safe from the Wuhan virus. I went into the building, and both of their offices were locked down tight. There's not a soul to be found. The parking lot is completely empty. Like I said, they're at home, staying safe, staying secure. I wish the same could be said by some of the long-term care facilities that are operated by this company. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, have you heard the bad news? Ontario's summer camps, they're locked down. That's just not right. I mean, there hasn't been one incident of someone under 20 in Ontario dying of the Wuhan virus. So what are the kids going to do this summer? They can't even go to the playground. Please go to our new petition, opensummercamp.com. That's opensummercamp.com. Put your name on the petition, and let's try to convince Doug Ford to do the right thing and get these camps open for summer.